So, I was watching a video by Barbara for you to see, and she brought up an Antifa page on Facebook called Antifa Boston. And what caught my eye in her video was that there was a status that she screenshotted of their page, and it said, "There's no room for conservatives, libertarians, or anybody that supports the U.S. Constitution. Get the fuck out." That was the status. I couldn't find it on their page. I guess they must have deleted it because I guess people were trying to expose them as a terrorist group. So I decided to snoop myself on this Facebook page. And you know what their cover photo is? One of their own burning a cardboard thing of paper saying free speech on it. They legitimately want to get rid of free speech. They want to get rid of the Constitution in general. Now, I was scrolling through. Now, normally with these pages, you gotta be careful because it's sometimes they're fake accounts. But here's the thing, though. This is not a fake account. Because if this was a fake account, it would have said, this is a parody page of Antifa. But it doesn't say that. It says, political organization in Boston, Massachusetts. So this is not a fake account. This is a genuine account. This is a real account on Facebook. And to make their legitimacy more real is they have an address where they meet, and I will not dox them because I do not believe in doxing despite how much I hate these people. Anyway, so now I'm browsing through their page and all that just to see what they have said on there, and this is one thing that's caught my eye. Democrats, DSA, and others who come to our aid in the future know our history. Thanks to your assistance, Saturday was a tremendous victory for our cause, but you need to educate yourself for future events like hashtag Boston Resist. We've been receiving a lot of questions about our page's cover photo on the left from 1964 Free Speech Movement in Berkeley, and on the right is Antifa's 2016 correction to that error. Also in Berkeley, comrades, thank you for standing with us yesterday, and cheers to Antifa's victory. It was an error to stand up for free speech in 1964? Really? An error? You call that an error? I'm sorry, but in 1964, let me give you a little fucking history here, because you people at Antifa Boston and Antifa in general don't even fucking know American history. In 1964, there was segregation. This was the epithecal peak of the civil rights movement. Multiple white Americans and black Americans have either been put in prison, molded by dogs, or killed to fight for black Americans' civil rights, okay? Now, they were getting mulled down for using their freedom of speech, saying, we're all equal. We're brothers and sisters hand in hand, regardless of skin color. Those were those types of chants during the civil rights movement. And also the famous We Shall Overcome. But here's the thing, though. It is not a fucking mistake to march for free speech, even if it's for free speech of those you fundamentally disagree with. That's how free speech works. Look, I disagree with you. I disagree with the neo-Nazis, but do I want to take away your freedom of speech? No. Despite how fucking idiotic both your groups are, I do not want to take away your freedom of speech. Not at all. I am not advocating for your freedom of speech to be taken away. But you're advocating to get freedom of speech taken away. No. And for the people at Berkeley that joined Antifa Boston for this anti-free speech rally, shame on you. Shame on you. You go to a college, which is the first college in American history in 1964 to stand up for free and total free speech. And now you're joining the anti-free speech movement? What the fuck happened? That was not the only thing that caught my eye. So I'm scrolling down more. And I see this, and this really pissed me off. If you have no idea who Jerry Lewis is, let me tell you who Jerry Lewis was. Jerry Lewis was a comedian. Not only was he a comedian who worked with Dean Martin from 1946 to 1956, but starting in the 1950s, he started his chairman role of the MDA Foundation, and in the 1960s, he started his 44-year run as the MDA telethon host that he stopped hosting in 2010, and they stopped doing the MDA telethons in 2014 because they weren't getting the ratings without Jerry Lewis. But anyway, Jerry Lewis passed on Sunday. He passed away yesterday. And Jerry Lewis was a very compassionate man. He had a big heart the size of you can't describe how big his heart was. He was a very generous man, a very kind man, a very humble man. And this is what Antifa had to say about him. The lonely comedian behind his facade was a man who harbored a lot of misplaced hate, and his career is nothing to idolize. Really? Nothing to idolize? He was the first comedian to create a male duo group. Most comedian duo groups were between men and women. They were normally husband and wives. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis were the first male duo group in comedy. The first male duo group in American comedy, especially for radio, which was pretty fucking inventive. And so, yes, his career is to idolize. And was he hateful? No, not by any means. He made fun of racism. He made fun of sexism. He was a human monkey. He made fun of himself. He was an idiot on screen. He was a pure idiot on screen. And that's what made him so successful. Anyway, they continue to say, Jerry Lewis embraced the power of white supremacy throughout his career. No, he didn't. If you knew anything about Jerry Lewis, you would know that is not the case. People who found his comedy or his jokes and characters portraying people of color stereotypes are just as much to blame for why we continue to deal with this situation 2017. He did not make fun of people of color. He did not make fun of black people. He actually made jokes for the pro side of the civil rights movement. Him and Dean Martin on more than one occasion made fun of white supremacists. Him and Dean Martin on more than one occasion made fun of Nazis because Jerry Lewis was Jewish himself. He did not like the Nazis. He did not like white supremacy. So, you know what? He made fun of them. He didn't, make jokes in their favor. They were the butt of the joke. And he actually made jokes in favor of the civil rights movement. Him and Sammy Davis Jr., whenever they would go to Vegas, if Sammy Davis Jr. was performing, sometimes Jerry Lewis would tag along with either Dean Martin or Frank Sinatra or Sammy Davis Jr. once him and Dean Martin recoiled in 1976. And guess what? They would shit on each other. That's how they showed their love for each other. They showed that they seen each other as equals and not as different human beings. They seen each other as one person because they were all brothers hand in hand. They had a brotherhood of man, a genuine brotherhood of man. So they made fun of each other. And so no, Jerry Lewis did not embrace white supremacy. Unsafe humor, as well as many problematic comics of today who were inspired by Jerry, Gilbert Gottfried, for example, should be given no further platform and no praise. Let the memory of an old bigot like Jerry fade away. Fuck you. He was not a bigot, and Gilbert Gottfried's not a bigot either. And this is not unsafe humor. This is humor that broke racism. This was humor that broke institutional racism. These jokes made fun of racism. They made fun of the institution of institutional racism. These jokes progressed America forward. We are in a more progressive America now than we were back then, thanks to Jerry Lewis, thanks to Sammy Davis Jr., thanks to Gregory Dick, thanks to George Carlin, thanks to these people that made these racial humor jokes. Yes, he did make racial humor, but it was in favor of the civil rights movement. Not against it, in favor of it. So he was not a bigot, and these people make fun of him not that long after he was pronounced dead. They made fun of him before his body, not made fun of him, they insulted him before his body was cold. These are fucking assholes. And that's not the only thing that pissed me off. So I'm scrolling down more and all that. Now I can just pull it up. You know what, I think I'll just pull it